Consider the equation below. F of x equals 5 sine x plus 5 cosine x, where 0 is less than or equal to x, which is less than or equal to 2 pi. And we need to find the interval on which f is increasing. Now, the first step we want to take when solving this is we want to find the derivative. So our f prime of x will equal 5 cosine x minus 5 sine x, which is our derivative. And so next what we want to do is, well, we want to find our critical numbers. Now, the way we find our critical numbers, critical points, is that we set our derivative to 0. Since whenever the slope is 0, it's usually when we have some extrema, so we have our critical points at wherever f prime of x equals 0. And so we can go ahead and place our derivative, which is 5 cosine x minus 5 sine x right over here. And we can go ahead and have that set to equal 0. And so we can move that sine x to the right by adding 5 sine x to both sides. So we'll have 5 cosine x equals 5 sine x. And to further simplify this, we can go ahead and divide both sides by 5, which will leave us with cosine x equals sine x. Now that we've established this, we can go ahead and direct our attention to the good old unit circle, and so we can draw out our unit circle over here, and we can find our points in which the value of cosine will equal the value of sine. And so we know that pi over 4 and 5 pi over 4 are 2 points in which cosine and sine have the same value as each other, where it'll be positive square root of 2 over 2 for the first quadrant, and then the negative of that in the third quadrant where 5 pi over 4 is. And so we can have our x equal the pi over 4 and 5 pi over 4 there for our critical points. And so we can go ahead and draw a little number line here to find where f is increasing. So we'll have our f prime of x here represented by this number line first, where we'll have 0 and 2 pi on each point, and we can have our some intervals set to pi over 4 and 5 pi over 4, since we've already established that those are critical points. And, well, we have to find where it's increasing, so let's choose a value on this unit circle that is within 0 and 2 pi, which is any value on this unit circle. So we have pi over 6. Here, cosine will be square root of 3 over 2, and sine will be, 1 over 2. And so we have a larger number minus a smaller number, and they're both positive, and so it's going to be greater than 0. So we can set our f prime as greater than 0 here. And so since we know it's going to be increasing since it is a positive value. And so next we can find a point between pi over 4 and 5 pi over 4, which we can put pi, and here cosine is going to be a -1, and sine is going to be 0, and -1 minus 0 is just going to be -1, which is a negative value. And so f prime is going to be less than 0, thus it's going to be decreasing. And so next we can find a point between 5 pi over 4 and 2 pi. We can choose, let's see here, 3 pi over 2. And so here our cosine is going to be 0, and our sine is going to be -1, and 0 minus -1 is just 0 plus 1, which is going to be a positive number. And so we can set our f prime to be greater than 0, and thus is increasing on that interval of 5 pi over 4 and 2 pi. So our intervals of increasing can be stated as being, let's see here, that can be 0 to pi over 4, and another point which it's increasing is 5 pi over 4 to 2 pi, since between those there are values in which they are increasing. And so those are intervals of